One of the main tips I would offer any Delta candidate is just making sure that you're doing the basics very well. And by basics I mean thinking about your lesson in terms of classroom management, in terms of choosing good quality materials, motivating and engaging tasks, and making sure there's logical staging. Don't get too sidetracked by the academic aspect. Obviously there is an academic side, but don't let that dominate your lessons. Just make sure that your lessons are motivating, are engaging, that they develop knowledge of skills and systems, but most of all, make sure that students are actually practicing language rather than just talking about it.
This may seem very obvious, but it's really important to familiarise yourself with the assessment criteria for all three elements of the Module 2 assessment. That's to say, the background assignment, the lesson plan, and the lesson itself. If you're really clear about what the assessors are looking for, then you improve your chances of doing the right thing.
Remember to get things checked step by step. So for example, the first thing you should do is check the title of your essay with your tutor and then start writing your first draft. It's also very important to allow plenty of time between the first draft of LSA 1 and LSA 2 in particular and the time when the lesson is going to be taught, so that you have time to send your tutor different drafts if necessary.
A key thing to remember when you're doing Delta Module 2 is communication. Make sure that you communicate with your local tutor as much as possible. Let them know what's going on, even if you're getting behind, so that everybody knows what's happening.
In the background assignment, when you're describing categorising problems in the skill or systems area that you're dealing with, do make sure that you refer to as wide a range of levels and teaching contexts as you can. If you restrict your essay to one teaching situation that you're most familiar with, then you're lessening your chances of doing well.
Remember to keep on top of your professional development assignment, as this is something ongoing throughout the course. Try not to leave it all till the end.
A very simple piece of advice when it comes to the relationship between problems that you raise in the background essay and suggestions that you make for addressing those problems is to make sure that you do pick up on the issues that you've raised earlier in the essay when it comes to listing your teaching suggestions. Those links are definitely something that the assessor will look for.
Another tip I would offer any potential Delta candidate is trying to understand the relationship between the background essay or background assignment and the lesson. The background assignment will start at a very general level, so thinking about learners in general, and perhaps your focus might emerge from problems that you've seen learners in general have with a particular system or skill. From that, you will analyse this system or skill, and what will emerge will be some problems and solutions. So different problems that learners will have, perhaps with a piece of grammar or a piece of lexis or a skill, and then you'll identify some solutions. Your lesson then should naturally emerge from this process, and your lesson sometimes is one of the solutions that you've identified, and the lesson will be an extension of that. Don't start your assignment with a specific lesson in mind. You can reverse engineer Delta assignments, but you'll find it much more difficult that way. So the process is start general and move towards the specific.
In your lesson plan, when you're doing the group profile, do make sure that your comments relate specifically to the key issues in the lesson, that they're not just generic comments about the learner's strengths and weaknesses. They should be directly related to the lesson in question.
During the course, communicate using the Delta Module 2 platform. The idea of this is that everybody is then in the loop. You, your local tutor, and the online tutor. Sometimes if your local tutor is someone who works with you, you might be tempted to do everything informally, even speaking rather than writing or email. But if you do things via the platform, it means that everything's logged officially. Relating to that as well, then if possible, try to use the platform to send documents rather than using emails.
Don't think that there's any such thing as a Delta lesson. Any good lesson is right for the Delta. Obviously, there is a need to display a range of assessable skills. You'd make life very difficult for the assessor if the lesson was an elaborated role play in which the teacher was seen to do very little, and the assessment really had to be based on a very interesting lesson plan. That's an extreme example. But the assessors really aren't looking for a textbook lesson. They're looking for a lesson which makes sense in addressing a clear set of appropriate objectives for a specific group. And beyond that, you could say that anything goes. Any kind of lesson should be accessible as long as it meets the criteria which you should be familiar with. So don't have the idea in your mind that you're expected to teach a Delta lesson.